Namaste. So today we are gathered here to talk about the holistic progress card. What basically the holistic progress card means. But before we go ahead, I would like to say that this basically the holistic progress card which has been proposed, or as per the Nipun Bharat basically stands for National Initiative for proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy. So it is a part of NEP 2020, the new education policy 2020, and it aims to make every child from class 1 to class 3 to have a basic understanding, means can do reading with understanding, can do basic math by the age of 8. So according to me personally, it's a very um, you know, a much needed initiative that has been put across. So, without much ado, we'll be talking more about what exactly Holistic Progress Card is, and we will also be talking about why is it important, why do we need Holistic Progress Card, and altogether everything. Here I have listed down the highlights of what all things you'll be getting to see through this video. So we have what is basically holistic progress card, the important features, and also we'll be talking about how to create a progress report. And further ahead, you'll also be seeing the differences between the distinctions between the traditional report card and the HPC, that is the holistic progress card. So let's just go ahead. Before discussing about the progress card, let us just have a look at what basically holistic means and also what basically the term progress means. So holistic here is like, it undertakes it involves the whole development of the child. It's not just restricted to marks or subjects, but it's looking at the child as a whole. Yeah. For example, a child may not write letters perfectly yet, but she can tell stories confidently and she can share her snack politely. That's holistic growth. So that is the holistic development, the term holistic that it stands for in this context. When we talk about progress, progress means moving forward, moving ahead and growing step by step. So basically, improvement can be seen at a time and at one's pace. If I would like to share an anecdote in this, what does progress basically mean? If a child who once cried every morning now comes to class with a smile, so that is progress. We've seen the progression of the child. So that's what progress means. So yes, now when we talk about what is holistic progress card, is what you can now understand. It's a comprehensive, competency based, and a 360 assessment rule. 360, of course, it is holistic, so there has to be the 360 assessment rule in it. It focuses on whole child. It has, it looks into the domains of cognitive domain, physical, social, emotional, value based. All these domains are taken into consideration, and the growth, the progress is what is assessed in this. So overall, it's not about the marks, it's about the growth that we are looking into. Since in since in the beginning we also spoke about the Nipun Bharat and the NEP 2020, let us just have a look at the alignment of these things. So the goal of NEP was that to move from rote learning to experiential learning. That is the need of an hour. Rote learning is no longer going to serve the purpose the way experiential learning serves right now for our children. Nipun Bharat mission that comes, it's the focus of Nipun Bharat mission was to achieve fundamental literacy and numeracy by grade 3. And how HPC, I'm sorry, how HPC, the holistic progress card, bridges both of them is that it is the competency based reporting, it has continuous assessment, and it emphasis on learning outcomes and child development. let's have a quick glance through at what is the why is HPC so important and what is the purpose of this particular progress card. As you can see on the screen, I have listed down some very crucial important features or purpose of HPC. And you can also have a look, it also, one thing which really highlights for me is that it promotes the parent, teacher, and the child collaboration. So it's like the child is getting a learning environment full of, values, knowledge, not only in school, but also at home. So this is where we can see the true holistic progress of the child. When the teacher and the parent are in the same uh, boat. Yeah. So that's the thing that it does come across. You can have a quick glance at through all the different other the important points that I have listed down. Now we are here on the objectives of the HPC. What are the objectives? When we talk about the objectives, it is you can have a look that we can here it is to assess learning as for and of learning. It is to assess that how have they done it, to track the progression that okay, on day one the child was able to do this particular thing, on day two or on day 20 this is the progress that we've seen. When addition, for example, one digit addition, single digit addition was introduced in the month of June, by the month of say December they are able to very easily solve single digit additions and are open to learning to double digit addition as well. So this is the progress that we are going to observe. It is not the performance. Okay, the child scored, 9 out of 10 or, scored 2 out of 10. No, we want the child to see, we want the progression, we want that graph. That is what is one of the very pioneering objectives of HPC. It is of here you can see it is to communicate effectively with the parents, because parents also can understand they are getting a holistic or a 360 level degree view of the child. Like okay, in different aspects, how is my child growing, how where my child is struggling little bit, which area is little challenging for my child, I can focus on it. And the teacher also gets to know the children in a very in-depth way, wherein it makes it a very smooth process for the child to grow. I have listed down few key features of HPC, which according to me, when we are trying to understand what exactly it is, these are really helpful. So let's just go ahead. It is multidimensional. When we talk about multidimensional, is that it not only looks into the academic or not only looks into that one particular area, it covers all different aspects. So we have cognitive, we have socio-emotional, we have physical, we have moral, we have aesthetic growth. All these things are taken into consideration. Next up, as I already said, it is competency based. So it is linked to all the learning outcomes. So it says that, okay, what outcome, what objective I want to reach, is it reaching there or no? That is what is measured over here. The continuous assessment. This is something that has been pushed forward, that has been taught also to the teachers when we are doing the B.Ed personal experience. So, and it is something that really helps in the growth of the children. So the continuous assessment means it is done throughout the year. It is just not done right before the term gets over or anything like that. The best part is that here the child participation is very much needed, because without the participation, of course, we won't be able to assess the child. And it not only includes the self assessment, it is also peer assessment, because since we are covering the socio emotional aspect also of the child's growth. So here, how the child is with their peers, everything comes into the picture. Yes, of course, parental feedback, it is the feedback that is given to the parents, that is taken from the parents, all plays a major role in, encouraging that home school connection that we need. So now we are talking about narrative feedback. So here, the feedback is not only given in terms of marks or grades. Here, it is a descriptive, constructive remarks are given. For example, when I was a preschool teacher, I would like to say that that time the idea of having this HPC and everything was not into the picture yet. So that times we were told to write anecdotes of what, any particular incident that you see in the classroom, a particular child doing it, or you come across any conversation between two children happening. It was encouraged for to us that you need to note those down, record those anecdotes, and put it across for the parents to see and to read, so that they know what the child is learning or doing in the class. And it really really makes it's really helpful for the parents. And another, this is a very interesting feature. It is just not restricted to giving grades or giving those marks or numbers. No, here the visual indicators, like you can use stickers, you can use smileys, you can use stars, you can use any sticker or anything that you think that your child, this children in the classroom will relate to, can be used instead of marks. So, it is like an achievement, a reward-based reinforcement for the children. And of course, we are just not, the report cards are looked forward to rather than just, being apprehensive about it. Now that we've moved ahead, we've understood the features, we've understood why HPC is important. We are getting into the three developmental goals that have been proposed by Nipun Bharat. These three developmental goals are like basically the three criterias. Each developmental goal has several, like say, approximately 10 to 12 learning objectives. These learning objectives, you can select any objective of your choice, one, two, three, as per your choice, and you can assess the child based on those objectives. So, every DG, that is the developmental goal, has a set of learning objectives. In total, we have around 36 to 40 objectives, learning objectives, when among that are divided among these three developmental goals. So let's just talk about the first developmental goal. You can have a look over here. It is basically the physical and motor development that we look into, as we were talking about the physical growth. And although, so motor is not only gross motor skills, it is fine motor skills and gross motor skills that come here. So we have that hygiene, nutrition, safety, all these come into this particular this particular goal. I have shared anecdotes also related to those. I'll just share it with you. The second goal that we have is the socio-emotional, ethical, and moral development that we look into. So here, whether they are cooperating, you can see teamwork happening, you can see their ethics, like, okay, those manners that we look into, the morals that we've, the values that have been induced, and, you'll see it in situations happening. So that is what comes into this. The third goal, that is the cognitive, language, literacy, and numeracy development. So here, when you can see, this is when the cognitive development, that is little other academics also come into the picture, that whether they are able to read, write, no, recognize the numbers, counting, basic counting, one-to-one correspondence, what is happening is in this where it is assessed. So you can see the holistic view of the growth of the child that is being assessed. So I have put across a very basic, simple set of learning objectives that you have for the first goal. Okay, so where the children maintain good health and well-being, what we want. Okay, the goal is for us from this particular domain. So, for example, a child, Ria is a child in nursery class who used to depend on her mother to feed her lunch every day. She would not eat in school. She would just not, she did not, she needed her mother to feed her, and she preferred to stay hungry but not to eat by herself. But over a course of few months, the teacher encouraged her, that continuous encouragement that during snack time, just take a bite or hold the spoon and try to eat once and try to eat independently. And by the term end, Ria proudly told her mother one day at home that I can eat all by myself. You don't need to feed me. So this is a small but a very big step towards independence and confidence. So here when you talk about the learning objectives that we have, it is being served. These objectives are being, so they are aware of their fine motor skills, gross motor skills, they are practicing self-care. So, so this is how we want the growth of the child to be seen. Next, now, when we are talking about the second goal, that the second developmental goal, that is, let's say we want the children to be effective communicators. So here, these are the learning objectives that we've taken into consideration, and we will be indirectly, subconsciously trying to imbibe it into the children. So for these objectives to be ticked marked, we can say, for example, during circle time, okay, we have. So there is a child called Arav. He's in junior KG. He rarely spoke. He was a shy child who, who would just not want to share things in the class. And so the teacher, introduced the concept of show and tell. Fridays. It would happen on Fridays. Now every child would was encouraged to bring a toy or anything to talk about. And Arav would just, initially he would get a toy. He looked that he's excited, but he would just mention it. Say once he got a red car, and he just said car. That's it. He didn't want to talk much about it. So by the mid-year, by doing this activity every Friday, that takes only 10 minutes. So by the mid-year, he was describing that particular toy car as this is my red racing car. It goes very fast. So the teacher will here record this progress of his, and she will put it under the HPC, language and communication skills. So this is the descriptive feedback which the parents will get. Now, when we come to the developmental goal three, that is, where your agenda is for this particular term or for these particular time span, that the children, you want them to become involved learners, connect themselves to their environment. So these are the learning objectives that you will choose for that assessment for that particular time. So when you'll see that, for example, let me give you an example for senior KG now. For senior KG, the class was growing plants as a part of an activity. Now, one day when the leaves turned yellow, there was this girl called Devika. Okay? Devika said, I think it didn't get enough sunlight. That's why the leaf is turning yellow. So now what is the role of the teacher in this? The teacher will note this as an evidence of her observation, of what she said, of her connection to the environment, that she understood that the plant needs sunlight to grow. And these are the key aspects. We are basically covering the key aspects of developmental goal three. That's it. So this is what, these are the tiny things that will, not only that will lead to the holistic growth of the children. Here you can see on the I have put across a table in which you can see that from class nursery, on the first slide you'll see from class nursery to senior KG, and then you'll see grade 1 and grade 2, the progress, how we look into in different in all these developmental goals, what are the criteria that we look into. For example, when you talk about nursery, the DG1, that is the physical goal that we want to assess the child. The child is able to run properly. Does the child jump? Do they, there's gross motor skills that we want. Then when you see the progress is that in junior KG, we assess how is the child able to balancing on the beam or walking on the tiptoes. Then for senior KG, how the child is like, is the child able to throw the ball and catch the ball? Okay, first it can we can have a big ball, then it can be a smaller one. So that's how the assessment goes. So the same way applies for, you can see, the socio emotional and also cognitive. So now when we are talking about class one and class two, so here you can have a look that how the transition is, like we can see the progress and how in every grade the criteria for the progress changes, like criteria for the goals that changes. So now by grade two, if it's only writing neatly, it is also about showing stamina for things in by grade two. So you have, for cognitive, they can add and subtract single digits, but now in in grade one, in grade two, they can read and write short sentences or paragraphs by themselves. So these are the things that this is how the transition happens, and this is the progress that we look. So till now we've been talking about what is HPC, what are the developmental goals, what are the learning objectives into it. Now here we come into the second part of the video, that is how to create a progression report. What do we do? How do we create? What are the things that to be added into it is where which I will be talking about now. So the step one, when you are creating a progression report, the step one is to define the learning outcomes or the objectives for each term. Okay, so typically we have term one and term two in a specific academic year. So for the term one, these are the objectives or the outcomes that I'm looking at. These are for each of the goals. That is developmental goal. These three outcomes I want for developmental goal one, two, three. These are the three or for as per your choice, the objectives or outcomes that I want. So this is where you have to be. It should be defined clearly and crisply. Now, since the learning outcomes have been shortlisted and finalized, now the role of the teacher here is to observe and record regularly. You can make a portfolio, you can make, keep, you can note down or record the anecdotes or some incidences that happen in the school, as little snippets of the activities that the children do, and what conversation, who was looking forward to it, who was not, why, what are the challenges the children overcame it. So all these things that you can record is when the observation and the recording comes into the picture. Now, as I told you earlier, that here it is not about grades or marks. Here they are assessed in these particular four ways, four levels that you can see. First is emerging, developing, proficient, and exemplary. So here I have taken, for emerging, I've taken a small sapling. Then you have a small plant. Then for developing, you have a small plant. Then for proficient, it is grown into a tree, and exemplary is it's blooming. So there's a flower. So you can take different colored stars, you can take different animals, you can take any icons or anything that you want, you think the children will connect more with. Even vehicles work wonders for this. So that way. So these are the criterias, or this is how they are assessed. Now the step four, which I said for the step two, that the recording and observing and recording things comes. This is where the descriptive feedback goes from the teacher. Like, for example, here I've given like Arav enjoys reading aloud and can identify three-letter words independently. So it's a big milestone for the child and for the parents. It's a beautiful reward that they you can include and you must include any self-reflection sheet, like, drawing or smiley scales or anything that you're doing in the classroom. If that is also put in as a record in the progress card, it will hold a very important and a crucial weightage for it, for the parents. So, for example, what we used to do when we were in when I was a preschool teacher, was that we used to click pictures and put it up in the progress card. of children doing certain activities. We would put in different drawings, just giving blank sheets to the children and telling them to draw. And the teacher would we would go around and ask the children what are they drawing, and they would just describe it, and we would note it down on that sheet of paper only, that what is it. So it would be just simple scribbling for younger ones. But still, when asked, that they'll be saying that we went in the car to my nanny house, and we ate ice cream, and all that the child will keep discussing and keep narrating. And if you record it, it's a very beautiful anecdote, and it also shows that how much the child is grasping and absorbing from the nature, from the environment around it. Now, after this is when you have, since it promotes, the HPC promotes the parent, teacher, and the child collaboration. So here you can collect, feedbacks from the parents. You can ask for suggestions if there's anything that they want it to be incorporated in a way, and then you can try and collaborate in a way. That's what the thing is in the entire progress card. Okay, so here I will be showing you, or I will be just putting across a sample progression report. It's just a simple layout. Just have a look. So the progress card, this is how it will be divided. First, it will be you're talking about the students' details, the attendance. You can have a look the developmental goal and with competencies, like what all goals have been put into. These are the competencies that we are looking into. Then the rating scales or the color indicators. It is whichever way you want. Like I'll give you a glance through that. Teachers' remarks also happen here. Parent feedback and the signatures to assign it. So this is how basic things that are included in the HPC. So now here we are, I'm just showing you that these are the basic competencies that we looked into. So the outcomes, the learning outcomes that we selected from the DG, that is the developmental goals. Here we are putting that, okay, if there is a developmental goal of recognizing particular alphabet or something, like the entire alphabet by this time. So here we've put in, for the parents to, we've simplified it and we've put it across. So we have, recognizing letters A to Z, participates in group play, maintains hygiene. So you can see the different uh, uh, the aspects are covered. So you can see the growth. So for recognizing letters A to Z in term one, it was just emerging, and by term two, they had become. They were developing, the grasping of that thing is developing, improved recognition, the growth that was observed. Participates in group play, you can see it was participation, it was proficient. They were the child was performing, like is a social is the social development is going well. And by term two, you can see that the growth has like it's excellent now. Then we have maintains hygiene. So yes, we've seen that the child has been proficient in maintaining hygiene, and it's still consistent. So the habit is consistent. So that's how the progress is noted. What are the roles of the teacher here in the HPC is what we are going to talk about now. So before just talking about it, teachers play a very crucial role in making these HPCs, because it is they who are recording, who are observing, who are noting down, who are preparing the cards. So yes, so let's just look into that. See, since the role of the teachers here, since we've been talking about HPC since like quite a long time now. So overall, when you want to concise it, it is that the children, the parents, the teachers need to observe and record the child's progress, design learning experiences, like how to implement it into the curriculum, providing positive and constructive feedback. Constructive is crucial. Just saying very good rather than saying that he is very good in this particular domain, and because I have seen that growth happening since the time, this is what we want in a constructive feedback. Maintains a portfolio or maintains the evidence of learning. Okay, I can see the difference. Then also communicates with the parents and encourages home support. So these are the crucial roles that we expect from the teachers for when it comes to making an Let's just have a quick glance through on the role of the parents and the students that expected. So so it is basically, the idea is to encourage learning not only in school but at home, sharing feedbacks, celebrating the small achievements that you see in the child, helping the child to set their own learning goals. Like this is what we is expected. It's time to move from the traditional report cards and get into the concept of a reflection card. So that's where the we are talking about the holistic progress card. So here you can see on the screen that, I have distinctively divided what the traditional report card is and what all HPC progress card, what are the things that were assessed. So when we are talking about the traditional report card, it's only marks and grades. Here we are talking about in HPC, we are talking about the skills, attitudes, progress. When we talk about end term evaluation, it was only in the terms, like term one, term two evaluation. Here, there is a continuous assessment. Then we talk about the teacher centered, because how the teacher used to assess the raw or orals and the written and all that stuff. But the child, parents, and the teacher, there's a complete collaboration and a partnership that can be seen. Then we have the focus is only on the results. Instead, here the focus is on the progress of the child, and it is done at the child's own pace. So the remarks that are given, for example, in the traditional report card, it would be, the marks, that is 85 out of 100. But in holistic, it is also observed by the teacher that the child communicates confidently during group time, or for math, if it is, then solves basic simple problems using concrete materials. Then, when you're talking about, for example, the social emotional, which was not there in the traditional progress card. But yeah, so we have the traditional, they are participating in different activities. So this is all is observed and put across. You can have a quick glance on what are the benefits of implementing the holistic progress card. So it, of course, and here I would like to highlight that it ensures a joyful and a meaningful learning. Because if this is there, you can see the growth, you can see the progress, you can see everything when the journey of learning is become has been made meaningful and joyful for the children. See, yes, yes, there have been many feedbacks on the, like, what the challenges that will be faced, or that teachers may face, while implementing HPC. But these are some of the solutions that have been put across. Like time consuming, the many people think that it is time consuming, and yes, but use a checklist. Use a checklist of what all things you aim to observe in this particular month or in this particular term. So it reduces half of the work. Share and shared, the rubrics, like what all things are there. So it is planned. Okay, this is how you're seeing the growth. Then the teacher training, the training for the teachers to implement this and to utilize it is a must. It should be conducted. You can break it into different sessions, or you can have a quick recap session in this before the beginning of the second term or anything like that, to know the challenges the teachers face, and we can bring the solutions to them. The understanding for the parent understanding. See, if there are regular meetings, if these anecdotes or examples are given, so it will become a clearer picture for the parents as well. Documentation load, yes, but use simple formats. It's not needed that you need to make an entire huge bulky folder or a portfolio and to be presented. Use simple formats, and that's how it can be done. So here we are at the end of our discussion, or not a discussion, but our video on what basically HPC is, and how to create a progress card as well. So the basic key takeaways that I would like to propose is, as I initially said, that what is holistic progress card is, in one simple sentence, it's a 360-degree continuous progress tracking of the child. ठीक है? So here every teacher is an assessor, a mentor, and a guide. And the focus shifts from what marks the child gets or how the child grew. That's where we want to reach. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope we were cleared as much as doubts that were there for the for the HPC. And just as a closing statement, I would like to say that assessments is not the end of learning; it is just the beginning of understanding. This was quoted by NEP 2020. Thank you. Namaste.